Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the State of Current Affairs here on The Insight tonight, where we dive into the heartbeat of Kenya's most pressing issues with unfiltered insight and bold perspective. It's Friday, March 14, 2025, and tonight we are unpacking a nation at crossroads, grappling with debt, distrust, and a youth demanding change, all while navigating its role on the global stage. From crumbling infrastructure to political parks blurring democratic lines, Kenya's challenges are as complex as they are urgent. But so are its opportunities if we dare to confront them head on. Well, joining me tonight are two voices uniquely equipped to, of course, help us dissect this moment. First, we have with us Dr. Joseph Mugasha, a veterinary doctor and seasoned commentator whose sharp analysis cuts through the noise, known for his incisive takes, like his viral Daily Nation piece warning pig farmers against quick fixes. Dr. Mugasha brings a grounded, practical lens to Kenya's systemic woes, from corruption to policy missteps. He is here to ask, are we treating symptoms while ignoring the disease? Of course, as we continue with this big conversation tonight. Of course, we also have with us Aggrey Odiwuor. Aggrey Odiwuor is a student leader from the Egerton University and a proud Gen Z voice. Aggrey embodies the restless energy of a generation that's taken to the streets and social media to demand an end to tax hikes, corruption, and empty promises. He's here to weigh in with the raw, unvarnished perspective of Kenya's youth, those inheriting both the mess and the mantle of change. Well, we'll get to listen to them, and this conversation will begin right now, but of course, you also could weigh in the conversation by SMS through 21144. That is where you get to converse with us and get in this conversation. My name is Eugene Quach. And of course, you can find me on social media platforms at Quach Official. And of course, at GBS TV Africa, that is where you get to converse with the studio. Well, this conversation begins right now, the state of the current affairs. Dr. Joseph Mugasha, thank you so much for accepting our invite once again to be welcome. Part of the conversation.
Thank you. You are welcome.
How's the week been?
Oh, the week was good.
Okay.
And you didn't say hi. Come on. How are you doing, Coach?
Karibu sana, karibu sana, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Dr. Mugasha, the big question that we are grappling with tonight is on the state of current affairs. And perhaps before I delve and dive into what I really wanted to ask you, from where you sit, if someone asked you, what is the state of current affairs? Perhaps you will tell something different. I don't know what you could say.
As it is now, the state of current affairs in the country is just sheer confusion. When you look at the country, you don't see the specific, any specific direction that we are going. The second thing is that we are seeing a leader who was given the mandate to steer this country for 5 years. But he's still in campaign mode. He's still running around giving promises which even have no basis, and which a lot of times we see they are actually not even true on their own outset. And the other thing is we have seen him acquire all other leaders one by one, including the chief of opposition, that is Raila Odinga, and put him right in government. So there is effectively no opposition. And this even became more pronounced after Raila failed to get the AUC position, chairman position. Now, we are also seeing other leaders, like the parliamentarians and the senators. They have completely lost track. One of their biggest responsibilities is to oversight the executive, the president. But we are seeing them now. Initially, they were telling us the president is doing a very good job. Now we started by saying that the president is doing a bad job and he needs to correct. And now what has happened, we are seeing them coming out. We have Senator Onyonka, we have Caleb Amisi, we have others. They are coming out And they are complaining with us on the streets, including people like Omutata, Senator Omutata Busia, coming out to tie himself with chains together with the demonstrators or the protesters. Now the question is, we gave these people the role to oversight the president or the executive, but they are coming out to cry with us. So what does that leave us as citizens? Where do we go if the legislators are coming to cry with us? That is a lot of confusion, and you can see that.
Interesting, interesting. I believe there is much more actually that we're going to discuss and converse, pertaining to what you have actually mentioned. Very weighty issues indeed. But let me hear from our Gen Z here tonight, and perhaps Agri, how's the week, sir?
My week has been good.
Yes.
Yeah, and thanks so much for the invitation.
Yes.
I'm a proud Gen Z, and on the current state of affairs in the country,
Yes.
I dare say that if the current state of affairs in Kenya cannot drive any sane man to madness,
Yes.
then never in Kenyan history
Yes.
will noble madness ever befall a Kenyan. Because still, you have a country where a president donates 20 million to a church when there are people still dying of hunger. Food is a basic need. And in 2025, no Kenyan should die because of hunger. A president is donating 20 million to a church when kids, there are school kids who went to a hospital and were forced to sleep at the hospital at the floor because there are no beds in the hospital. I'm told some of them were even forced to want to buy medicine in the chemist. And this shows how even the health sector is messed up in the current state of affairs in the country. Yeah, actually, I read just some few days ago that even the presidential motorcade just hit a man and died. And the president had no time to look back, but he had time to stand by the roadside and promise people a million chapatis. So this shows how a shamble the state of affairs in Kenya is as we speak currently.
Yes.
So the situation is disturbing, to be honest. Yeah.
You could talk a bit about the education sector. You see, you're a student leader. I don't know what you feel about the education sector. Is the president fulfilling the promises he made actually on, and how far has the education system in Kenya gone generally? Could give an overview, because we understand that one of the key issues that the president has consistently been talking about is to ensure that the education system is continuously enhanced. But from where you sit, how far has that gone?
From where I sit, I feel the president is actually killing the education sector in Kenya. Because tell me, right now I'm in university, and as I speak up to now, there are university students who haven't received help money. How do you expect these people to buy food? Some of them rely on this help money to pay fee. The school portals are being closed, they're being forced to defer, and some of them, they even use this money, help money, to pay rent. Some of them use them to pay hostels, and these students are stuck. University students are dying of hunger because there is no help money. There's delay in the disbursement. Look at, I heard that they are saying that only English and Kiswahili will be compulsory, and mathematics won't be compulsory on going forward. Now tell me, why would any sane man say that mathematics won't be compulsory? Mathematics is the only subject that is practical of all the subjects. Otherwise, history, all those are just theories. So I feel the education system, as we speak at the moment, is at its deathbed, unless the president wakes up and smells the coffee. And I'd say, why is it that every political position there is a bursary docket for all the positions? Why can't we take all this money that you give MCAs as bursary, give it to women reps, to MPs? Even the president has a bursary budget. Why can't he take all this money and just pump it to the education system and to make education free for everyone? I think by doing that, then we would have a country to be proud of.
Dr. Mugashi, you have been very critical, and actually you could be able to understand even the plight of Agri, which is the plight of many Kenyans, as he talks about education. Let us begin there. You have been a lecturer, and you have been in an academia for some time. From where you sit in education, what do you think ought to change, and how then can it be changed, even as you revert to what Agri thinks or says?
The first thing that needs to be done, when you look at this whole system, excuse me, and let's not just look at education, but what needs to be done as a first step throughout is to leave the people in charge of ministries or government agencies to run those agencies. What you see today is that the president is running a one-man show. He knows everything. He's the one who knows about education. He's the one who knows about livestock. He's the one who knows about crops. He knows everything. My question, and this is what I've been asking a lot of times, even when I meet these bureaucrats, what really is your job?
Yes.
Now, when we come to education, it is another complete mess.
Yes.
Complete confusion. We change. We start with the system of education. We change the system of education to the so-called CBC, but we don't even. Nobody really understands what CBC is, and it is ending up putting so much pressure on the students and the parents. I talk about it because I discuss with parents, and they tell me now we have to do homework. And you know, if you want to train and educate children, you should not do things for them. You should just guide them and let them do it.
Okay.
Now, when you come to the so that system of education was brought in without adequate preparation.
Yes.
Now that it is already done, what we should do is stick with it, work with it, correct where we need to correct.
Yes.
But the president should leave the managers of agencies to run those agencies.
Yes. Let me just also ask you this, because it's also some issue that people are really asking, and even as they're talking about the current affairs, it is something actually the people really talk about a lot. Still touching on education, because, and that is CBC, the CBC, you know, the system. You understand the system, how it works.
Yeah.
So the CBC, from what you get, student to teacher ratio could be around 165 to 1, and over 200,000 unemployed teachers. We also have lack of university loans, as is mentioned, which actually, if you look at all these issues, at the other time we had university which faced cash crunch. All these lead to a crumbling education system. For sustainability, quickly, what is the way to go, sir? And even the CBC, was it even the right thing to do?
Now, CBC, let's start with that.
Yes,
it was not necessary to change the system because we know systems of education. You need 16 years to be in the education system, and that is something that is complete. I mean, it's international. You are supposed to run through that process. Going back, if you go back all the way to the one that we sat, that was going up to A levels, it was still the same number of years. 844 was the same number of years. Then we came to now CBC. It is the same number of years. So why are we changing all this? What we should do is have a system and then keep changing the subjects or modifying the subjects, but not the whole system.
Okay.
Because what we have been doing is wasteful. But I'll tell you one thing. One of the reasons why you see all these changes is because they are vested interests.
Yes.
And I'll say it here because I know.
Yes.
They are vested interests. There are people who want to become consultants. There are people who want to publish books. There are people who want to be the ones in charge of running the systems and remove the ones who are there before.
Yes.
And it cuts across all the way, even the police service, changing it from police force to police service to changing the uniform. There is nothing that changes when you change a uniform. It is a question of what you think. Wow. But if you look at it, you will see that there is ulterior or nefarious business
Yes.
behind that change.
Okay.
So we need to go back to knowing that you don't improve by changing systems. You improve by increasing the capacity of the people and changing the attitude of the people.
Yes.
It is not about the system.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, interesting. Well, and of course, you're talking about, there is a lot of things actually that we're talking about on leadership and governance, which we are also going to talk about, to tackle. But since you're a student here with us, also, you could weigh in on CBC. How has it affected even learning currently at the university, CBC, because it potentially could have affected even those people at the university. How is learning now, even at the university level, with us having the CBC? Was it even a good idea? And what is the future of CBC from where you sit?
Allow me say that it is the first time since out of CBC that I'm meeting someone who at least understands the CBC system. Otherwise, everyone I've met before is like, we don't understand what CBC is. And I'd like him to maybe elaborate to me later after maybe this.
Yes.
But let me say this, that you don't fix a system that is not broken. You only fix a broken system. And sometimes I ask myself, what was so bad with 844 that we had to change it in a span of, I don't know, 2 to 3 years? And I think that 844 system was better compared to CBC. The only mistake or the only problem that was in 844 is that it was too theoretical.
Yes.
That even the things we used to call practical, like biology practicals, we used to learn them theoretically. We only told that these are bone and name the parts of the bone, but you don't see it physically.
Yes.
So I think we ought to have brought the practical parts
Yes.
into 844.
Yes.
And fix the idea of CBC in 844 without changing the system.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the first thing I could have done.
Thank you so much. And just as we come to the end of this conversation, let me just ask you in a very short words. Is it a good idea to remove maths?
To remove?
To remove maths and make it non-compulsory subject?
I feel like screaming.
Just
Let me say something.
Yes.
I did not say I understand CBC.
Oh.
I said I understand what it was said it should be able to do.
Yes.
But you look at it, it's supposed to be practical.
Yes.
I went through a system that apparently people will say it was not practical.
Yes.
But I learned how to cook in school.
Yes.
I learned how to make tools like the cooking stick.
Yes.
The calabashes.
Yes.
And we had something practical called handicraft.
Yes.
We had home economics.
Uh-huh.
We had all these things.
In home science.
Yeah.
Where you
This-
learn to cook chapati.
Exactly. Not with machines though.
Yes, okay.
So what I'm
Yes.
saying in short
Yes.
is that it is not the system.
Yes.
For instance, Agri says they did theoretical biology. It is not about what you did. It is about what was not delivered to you. Because in the system, there was supposed to be sufficient capitation or provision of funds to procure the teaching materials.
Yes.
When those funds are not provided,
Yes.
then the teaching becomes theoretical.
Yes.
Is that the system or is it the management failure? It is management failure.
Yes.
So we are trying to change systems
Yes.
because of our failures,
Yes.
but not because of the failures of the systems.
Yes.
And let's interrogate this. Allow us to put in some time.
Yes.
Just about another minute.
Okay.
You see, when you change a system, let's say in primary school,
Yes.
what does it mean? It changes everything
Yes.
up to tertiary, up to university.
Yes.
So everybody must spend a lot of money
Yes.
to accommodate the change you have instituted. You should give, when we are doing these things, we should just use our biological systems.
Yes.
What will happen if you removed your eyes?
Okay.
You have to change a lot of things. It is the same thing. We should work as much as possible to retain systems
Yes.
for as long as they work.
Okay.
I agree with Agri.
Yes.
If it's working,
Yes.
don't fix it.
Okay.
If it's the operator, change the operator
Yes.
or train the operator
Yes.
to be able to function.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite much interesting. So, permit me agree because of time. We have quite a number of issues to discuss
Yes.
this span of time, and I want us to converse on some other things. Another critical issue, actually, that has been is quite much of concern, is the issue of U.S. aid freeze, which is actually affecting various sectors within the country, and of course not just in Kenya but beyond. But let's put this, confine the conversation within Kenya, because the freeze on U.S. foreign aid has actually left antiretroviral drugs stranded in warehouses, forcing clinics in Nairobi to actually even ration supplies to 1 month refills. Of course, we've had cases where Finance Minister John Mbadi is now reviewing emergency funding options but if you look at this critically, it's a very critical issue because we have high cases of HIV patients increase actually, but this is something actually that could affect our people in one way or the other. I don't know what you think about it. Let me start with you, Daktari. Also that you are a doctor.
Yes.
But a doctor of animals.
A doctor of animals,
But,
but humans are animals.
But humans are, oh yes, yes. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, we also work to help human beings, like when we are doing research and other things.
Yes.
My thinking is this, and I've always said this since I understood the politics of aid. We should stop all aid to African countries. We should stop aid to Kenya. We are very well endowed, but we are misusing and stealing our own resources. And even the aid that comes, we are also stealing it. We should get this aid stopped and let us use our own resources. Why do I say this? If you look at the percentage of aid that comes into the country, it is not a quarter of the budget. But when you look at our budget, let's say like now, we are looking at a budget of around 4 trillion. Our investigations and our analysis of the expenditure is that, first of all, from the statement of the former president, that is Uhuru, we are losing 2 billion shillings a day to corruption. So when you work out that to a year, it is equivalent to a third of the budget.
Okay.
Nobody has debunked that. Nobody has denied. And the CS for Treasury repeated that another time in the recent past. So we take that to be correct. But when again you look at the amount of corruption that we have, it also works. So that is a third of the budget. That is first of all taken away by corruption. It is not even half the amount we get from aid. Second, government wastage. And I keep giving an example of the projects which were started by Uhuru Kenyatta as the former president. All those projects were the government invested. But because they were abandoned by the current president, then all that is wastage. I give an example of our road in Murang'a, part of the Mau Mau Road. It was just about to be tarmacked when the government took over. But today, it was abandoned, and now if you are going to make that road, you will have to start from scratch. That is wastage. Now, the other one is funding. Now, wastage, when we look at it, is coming to about another 1/3 of the total budget. So that is already telling you that 2/3 of the budget is already wasted. Now, the other one is funding of non-priority projects. Come to affordable housing, for instance. What really is affordable housing? This, sorry. This is not even coming from the normal taxation. You are taxing people further and picking that money, putting it in houses.
Yes.
And when you look at the people who are being given the contracts,
Yes.
it's actually cartels, people who have been pre-selected.
Yes.
So When you look at the budget, in our analysis, it is about a third of our budget that actually goes to useful deployment or usage.
Interesting.
So why do we then need the aid? We don't need it.
Yes.
Let's do our bit. Finally, this aid is money that is tax money from the people of the country giving the aid. What responsibility do they have on us for them to give us their tax money? Then we steal ours and we waste ours and we keep crying to them. It is time that we Kenyans learn to take our leaders to account, and they account for each and every coin, and it goes to priority programming.
Wow, quite much interesting. So do you weigh in on the conversation?
Yeah, on the aid freeze, I'd say that there is this philosopher who said that he who feeds you controls you. Yeah, so I think the US stopping funding, giving Africa aids is a blessing in disguise to we as Africans, because they give us the aids and tell us, do this, if you don't do this, we will freeze the aids, we will sanction your country. But I feel it is time we Africans be self-reliant on ourselves. We have the resources required. We have natural minerals, natural resources, and I believe Africa is the richest when it comes to natural resources. Why can't we just make good use of our natural resources so that we don't have to rely on those wazungos to survive in Africa? So personally, I endorse them freezing their aids. We don't need them in our continent. Let them keep them in US and British, and we'll survive on our own. I feel that's a good idea.
Interesting. Yeah. We hopefully, we are hoping that maybe this will then be our call to change actually the demeanor, or rather the character of the system, the so-called system, to know how to manage our funds well, so that it can be able to cater for what is needful for the patients and even for other issues actually that the US aid has been assisting, and of course many other aids and loans that we've been getting. While
what we should do,
yes,
I hope we are able to answer this one quickly. What we need to do for the people who are our partners or our allies, like the US, Canada, the European Union, what we are supposed to do is to negotiate with them, and we do business. We supply them with what they don't have, and they supply us with what we don't have. Then we have a dignified relationship where we are both benefiting. But the question of going around with begging bowls, it should stop. It is going to affect, the stoppage by USAID is going to affect our programs, as you have seen, but it need not do, because we need to stop stealing our own money. Our leaders need to stop stealing our money. And we need to put our money where it is helping the nation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We are taking a very quick short break, but we'll be right back. My name is Eugene Kwach, and this is The Insight.
Because we are here to entertain and educate at the same time. So the question of the day, have you ever benefited from any youth-led initiative?
What pushed me to get into the ground, one, was born HIV positive, by the way. So when I was born HIV positive, I felt like the society and the youth need to be educated much on about the HIV and HIV management.
Someone was confessing and alikuwa anasema like yeye ako HIV positive, ni student, but yeye badala ya ajue venye atasaidia wengine, yana try venye atasambaza.
Unajua pia kitu kingine yenye natusumbua sisi mayouth ni kiburi. You don't want to learn, unaona?
Yeah.
Be there to learn. my youth are doing things that they are not supposed to do, kwa sababu anataka kitu yenye iko beyond yeye, iko beyond haezi afford. Unaona manze, mimi nataka kubamba wase, kuchafua meza, kukuwa na dem sijui mwenye anakaje, ndio at least wase wa feel like mimi nimeweza. Manze mimi hiyo ya kuweza, acha tuweze ki mindset. Na pia uset goals. Kama una goals manze kwa hii life sijui penye, ni kama tu yani you should live with a purpose, not in purpose. Unajua most of us are living in purpose whereby yani wewe uko tu manze. Hata unataka kukatia dema na kwambia habari yako mzuri, unadoingi nini? Ati mimi niko tu. What is mimi niko?
Welcome back to this conversation. My name is Eugene Kwach. Of course, you're watching The Insight, and I have my two guests here with me. Agrio Dewar, student leader from the Egerton University, from the Egerton University, yeah. Correct. And of course, we also have Dr. Joseph Mukasha here, who was also a lecturer. But of course, he has many titles. He wears many titles. A commentator is here with us to have this conversation on the state of the current affairs. Let me begin with you, Egerton.
Yeah.
Your dream after finishing school is to get opportunities, to get employment opportunity. President Ruto has been calling the youth to seek job abroad, and this has actually sparked debate. Is this a practical solution to unemployment, or does it reflect government failing to create opportunities at home? What does it really mean to you? If you got an opportunity to go abroad, would you consider it?
First, I feel that the president himself, President Ruto, should look for job abroad and leave this country for a sober person to create job opportunities. Secondly, why would any sane Kenyan finish campus then be taken in a jet to Saudi Arabia to become a house help? This is self-disrespect, to be honest, to our education system. Thirdly, why would we take our best brains to go and develop another country? Why can't we create employment in our country so that someone don't have to leave university and go to Europe to look for a job? Because it's like all our best brains are living for abroad. They're going to work there, leaving the country with people like President Ruto and Oscar Sudi, which is very unfortunate. And on the issue of unemployment, there are so many ways of fixing unemployment in Kenya. And this is one of the practical ways. I feel that we need to look at things that we have comparative advantage over the countries and focus on this. For example, I think like sugarcane. A large part of Nyanza, there is sugarcane. For example, there is Ndiwa sugarcane, there is Western sugarcane. But our sugarcane takes 18 months to mature. Sudan has a sugarcane that takes only 8 months to mature. Therefore, we cannot compete them in something like sugarcane. We need to focus on something else. Why can't we use majority of this land? Maybe we have sugarcane, but we reduce the plantations. Maybe we have something else that other countries don't have, so that we focus on maybe cottage industries. For example, a place like my place in Rusinga, in Homa Bay, there's fishing taking place there, but the youth there just fish to sell the fish at 100 bob, at 50 bob. Why can't the leaders there build cottage industries so that the youth there can fish, not just for local consumption, but even for exportation, so that we can even export the fish in Rusinga to counties that don't have, those that have never seen water, like Makueni and Machakos and other parts of the country. Yeah, so I think the Kenyan problems are solvable and easily, and they're practical. It's only that the president is overthinking and thinks maybe he can solve our problems through going to church every weekend, which is very unfortunate. So I think, one, you should focus on the cottage industries. And two, ensure that the best brains don't leave Kenya to go and work abroad. Let those brains be in Kenya. And those brains can build up industries, they can come with ideas to develop our country. And lastly, not that there is no opportunities in Kenya. As Chinua Achebe said, that the problem with Africa is squarely one, that of political leadership. So we must first start by fixing the political leadership in Kenya, if at all we want everything to work, which we will do. I believe we will fix this country in this life. Not in this, but in 2027.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure beyond any shadow of doubt that we will.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You should actually converse more with Dr. Mugashi after this, because he's leading a very great movement to oversee that 2027 and beyond, there's good leadership in the country.
Correct.
But of course, Dr. Mugashi, as a leader, as a person who aspires to see a good Kenya, do you think that the encouragement of youth immigration is the best thing to do at this time, which we can say that Kenyan youths are grappling with employment, unemployment, there are no jobs? Is this the best way to solve this issue?
Okay. First of all, I'll call this, and I'm calling it, and we are calling it, slave trade, modern slave trade. Why do we do that? It is because our own people have formed companies to export young people to these countries. If you look at who is doing that, you will find it is the leaders who are doing that. Majority of the owners of those companies are leaders who we have elected. And I would like you to find out that. You will confirm my statement. So it is not companies that are started by the Kenyan who is trying to create an enterprise.
Yes.
That is one. Second, I agree with Agri that you are better off developing your own your industries and businesses, and keeping these people, your people at home, building the capacity. Let that person who has specialized capacity that others don't have and they would like to have it, let them negotiate their way and go and get their jobs, and they will be paid well. I worked with the United Nations. I went to Canada, I did some work. I was not taken by anybody. But I had the skills that were needed. This is being done en masse.
Yes.
The people who are likely to go out are the people who are talented and very skilled.
Yes.
But they are going to do jobs that are low key. And therefore what you are doing, you are actually suppressing very, very good brains by giving them jobs that are not suitable to their intellect.
Yes.
And they are leaving the country.
Yes.
So basically what you are doing, you are sending your best out and being left with what is not best.
Interesting.
And they are going to go out there. I can assure you, when they are out there, they will not continue doing those jobs.
Okay.
They because they are good brains. They will find ways of improving themselves and do other jobs.
Okay.
And we have seen people who have gone, for instance, to the US.
Yes.
They went there to do manual work, but you find somebody is a doctor.
Yes.
Or somebody is even an inventor.
Yes.
And there are many of them. Now, I want to ask Kenyans. Most Kenyans are farmers, and they produce animals. If you keep on selling your young stock, how well are you going to maintain your herd? You cannot.
Yes.
And we have even a saying in Kikuyu. I will say that because I'm a Kikuyu. That if you have a herd that has no calves or has no young ones, then that herd is going to die out. So basically what we are doing, we are killing our own nation by sending out our best brains
Yes.
in the name of looking for jobs.
Okay.
What we are supposed to do is very simple.
Thank you.
Create jobs at home.
For the interest
And it
of
is possible.
For the interest of these youths are continuously, consistently seeking for a great future. Last year, we had a revolution, if you could call it so. And this youth-led protest, of course, it was against tax increase. And we realized that it happened at the backdrop of the parliament actually trying to pass the bill, and that was the finance bill 2023. And perhaps we have seen this in the past. I agree, this question is for you. And we have seen such movements meant to achieve real policy change in the past. So the question is, what really happened, and what is the future of this protest or of these young people? Will we continue seeing them at the forefront in terms of making the real change by going to vote the right way, or are we going to see voter apathy like we have experienced in the past, where we have seen the youths come out, they want the change, but they are not always part of those people who actually go and vote? What is the future of such revolution, particularly this one that began in 2024? What were these people seeking, and what have they achieved? And going forward, how will they even plan to change Kenya? Will it even happen?
Yeah, I am sure, beyond any contradiction, that we will change Kenya in this life, as I said earlier. And as soon as 2027, they say every king trembles. And I feel President Ruto has trembled. And he trembled in June 25th of last year. And I feel that the only cure to this country is revolution. Revolution. The only change we are facing is that maybe majority of the people are still in the dark. They're not aware of what's happening, that we need to fix this thing, that maybe these politicians are not immortal. They can also die and stuff. And as the professor said, that the only way to finish your herd is through killing the young ones. But also, I also come from the lakeside. And in the lakeside, my great-grandmother, Edith Akomu Nyarkabar, would tell us that the only way to finish a forest is through uprooting the small trees. And this is what we saw during the last protest. We saw the president killing the young ones, and he's finishing the country. But I feel that Gen Zs will strike again. The only reason as to why maybe Ruto wasn't out of power due to defeat is maybe I feel that maybe people were like, were we ready for Gachagua presidency? And maybe Gachagua was worse than Ruto. Right now we have Kindiki, and we don't mind this presidency. Ruto, he can even present for life. We don't care about it. But I feel if the Gen Z strike again at the moment, then we will achieve objective. Last time we were like, we mind. We're not ready for Gachagua presidency. Yeah, this guy is maybe worse than Ruto and stuff. And I think the best time to strike again is now.
So you do not mind Kindiki presidency?
Kindiki, he can even present for life.
Yes.
We don't care. And yeah, I know he will tremble.
Why do you mind regarding Gachagua presidency?
But you all know that every Kenya was in charge, talking of, shareholders government, if you're not a Murima, we won't do this. Kindiki is just a soft guy who can easily tremble, and we can easily fix the country. I feel the only thing Gen Z need to do is that we have to make sure that we register as voters in 2027. If at all we want to fix this nation, we one, we need to register as voters, because I think in the last elections, majority of those who vote are the elder people who are still stuck in the past. And it is unfortunate that even, I think one of the things that ended also, apart from the Gachagua presidency, I think that ended the protest was the handshake between Raila and Ruto at that time, because Raila was out and said they can dialogue about this and everything. But I want to tell Raila that you cannot dialogue on corruption. You cannot dialogue on matters in competence. We are saying go after the corrupt leaders, those who have stolen our stuff, our finances, our resources. Go after them, take these things and give them back to the citizens. It is very simple. So our problems doesn't require any magic to solve. It just needs a sober mind. Yeah, but I feel Gen Zs, particularly as a Gen Z, I'll present myself for election 2027, and now I'll win. Yeah, with a landslide. We must end this thing of recycling the old politicians who are stuck in the past.
Yes.
We need to bring fresh blood into the political scene.
Thank you so much. Sir,
Yes.
the Gen Z is bringing in some very weighty issues and concept of and a way to look at this. We've had this conversation with you before, and particularly on changing the leaders that we actually have. He says that we do not care if Kindiki becomes president for life, but Gachagua, no, on the basis of shareholding remarks. Let me just ask you simply: do we need a Kindiki presidency, a person that could tremble before the people, so that when the people say we want change, and then a Kindiki would maybe soften his heart compared to a Gachagua or a Ruto? And looking forward, what do you think? Because you have been in the past and you've seen how the voting pattern has been, particularly the youth. We saw them in 2024 during the Maandamano. And now we are seeing 2024, there was a Maandamano. And they are continuously threatening through social media. What do you think do you think the Gen Z, or rather the youth, will come out greatly to vote and to ensure their voices are heard? Will they make the same mistakes their forefathers have made by voting along tribal lines? What will happen in the future from how you have seen and from your experience, Dr. Hari?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I agree here, and let's first look at the Gen Z revolution very, very quickly. The first thing is that we had a movement that said it was leaderless and it was tribeless, it was classless. The classless and the tribeless bit is very good, but I'll tell you something. And I address, I share this with all the Gen Zs and other people out there who want to, who are into the movement. The leaderless movement, I've done a bit of research on it, and it is known not to carry the day. Because human beings are social animals, like all other animals that are social. And when you do a leaderless movement, and you get to a point, and you have caused an impact, then the gains, the impact that you create will usually be grabbed by somebody who was even never in the movement. And this has been documented. Agri, if you read some of the research that has been carried out on the leaderless movement, you will see that. Therefore, it is not possible to make a leadership change using a leaderless movement. My advice to the Gen Zs and the millennials who are doing that movement is, guys, ensure that you have a leadership. You cannot have a leaderless movement and it succeeds. To be taken by somebody else.
Let me also ask you.
Yes.
Because when you talk about the leadership, the leaderless change, or rather the leaderless movement, some people have said that the reason why they call themselves leaderless is not that the Gen Z were asking for power, but they were asking for accountability and transparency from their own government. That has been said. But again, we have had leaders. Now, as the conversation, because I also want us to talk about the pact between Raila Odinga and the president. they have talked, and Raila Odinga has actually even mentioned that we could not allow our country to go, and of course other leaders have also weighed in and said, we could not allow our country to go like other countries where we've had revolutions, yes, but the countries have taken quite a long time to settle before now they become stable. And therefore it was very important for the Kenyans, or rather the people of Kenya, to be more united, as even they strive to fight for the changes that they ought to fight for. I don't know what you think, and maybe your 2 cents on the same.
Now, the coming together of Raila and Ruto, it has no justification. Raila was in the opposition, and he was the opposition chief. What he is supposed to do, and I will repeat this 1,000 times, he was supposed to check the president and ensure that him and his team, when I talk about Raila, I talk about the opposition, his business was to check the excesses of the presidency. And what he did, when he realized the Gen Zs did not want him in their demonstrations, in their protests, he decided to join Ruto so that he can be relevant. It has nothing to do with saving the country. What he should have done, if he wanted to save the country, he would have called his MPs and told them, impeach the president. After impeaching the president, then we have the next president. I hear the Gen Zs were saying, we don't want this president, it might not be the best one we want. You can impeach even the one who comes in. Impeach him also and put in the president you want. There is no reason why you can't do that, or why Kenyans cannot do that. So we need to understand and go back to, we need to understand that we have a constitution.
Yes.
And the constitution is very clear on the change of power, change of leadership.
Yes.
It is very clear. Then we are coming to, you asked me about the Kidiki presidency. We don't need a person who shudders or shakes in front of people. We need somebody who will start and say, guys, this is the way we are moving.
Like Ruto does.
No, Ruto is a dictator. And what he does, he's a one-man show.
Okay.
Give me that position.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Kenyans, you give me that position.
Yes.
I will come in and I will say, we go where we have agreed to go.
Yes.
And if you do not know, and it's me who knows, I have to sit with you and get you to understand why we need to go that way.
But that is what Ruto has been saying. He has
not been consulting.
Ruto has been saying, we need to go this way in terms of SHA and SHIF, and this is because 1, 2, 3. And he has mentioned, he has said that there was a lot of corruption. And through SHA, SHIF, and Shushu, we actually going to see that some of the corruption actually, we're going to do away with them. People still reject.
Now, the thing is this.
Yes.
He doesn't say we need to go this way.
Yes.
He doesn't consult.
Yes.
He makes the decision and then tries to push it down your throat.
Okay.
Then secondly,
Yes.
Secondly,
Yes.
NHIF was working.
Yes.
And I have said again many times,
Yes.
when you find a thief in your house,
Yes.
you do not burn the house.
Yes.
You arrest the thief, or you call the police to arrest the thief, and then you repair the damage, and you continue with your house.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me hear from Agri. Agri, we've talked quite a bit, a number of things actually, and also about the Raila Odinga and Ruto Pact. Many Gen Zs believe that Raila Odinga intercepted what was going to actually be a successful revolution by removing President Ruto, by handshaking Ruto or agreeing to work with him in a dialogue. You are against dialogue and saying that you cannot dialogue corruption, you cannot dialogue mischief and incompetency. I don't know what you think about this particular UDA-ODM pact, actually, that they had even signed and they agreed to work together. What is there for the youth? And particularly when the youth say that these are not what actually we talked about. When we talk about the 10 issues, the 10-point agenda, those are not what we wanted. That is what ODM wanted. And the ODM is saying the revolution of the youth were the youths, and they didn't have a leader. But for ODM has a leader. How does that sit with you?
First, let me challenge the Gen Zs, with the Gen Zs. How comes we are saying we are leaderless, and at the same time blaming Raila for intercepting? Is it that we were acknowledging that Raila was our leader, yet we're in denial? That's a very sensitive topic. Yeah. On matters, Raila joining hands with Ruto, then what's the essence of going for elections every 5 years if the opposition leader will always go to bed with the ruling person? Yeah, I think that this is wastage of time and resources. Why use
let me just hold it there. Yeah. You think it is wastage of time for the opposition to be shaking hands with the president, with the sitting president?
I feel it is wastage of time to go to an election, use billions in an election, only for the losers to go and shake hands with the winner. Let the loser do his work and oversight the winner. And I feel that Raila has become a political chameleon and always shifts from one government to the other. As Okiya Mtata said that Raila is a political prostitute. And on that regard, I agree with him. He is indeed a political prostitute. And he's full of commanship, which is unfortunate for an old man who should be guiding his children and grandchildren. Yeah. On the handshake, now tell me, Kwach, what is then that agreement that couldn't be achieved with the Raila in opposition and Ruto in government? Was it necessary that Raila had to join opposition for the high cost of living to be fixed? Okay. Was it necessary that he must just join it for the electoral process to be fair and everything? Well, I think it's just side shows.
Okay, interesting. We have come to the end of our show, unfortunately or fortunately. But let me just give you time to give your parting shot, even as you continue with that conversation about maybe Gen Z or whatever you'd want to put across clearly as we come to the end of this show, the state of current affairs. With you, agree?
My parting shot to the Gen Zs is that when we were young, we were told we're the leaders of tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is today, the tomorrow has come, but unfortunately, those old politicians have refused to exit the stage, and therefore we must force them to exit the stage, and we must force them in this 2027 election. So, let me tell the agencies that we know theories have been made that you cannot defeat a sitting president in Africa, but I want to assure that every king trembles. There's no king that doesn't shake, and Ruto is shaking. Ruto is like that man in a river being taken by flowing water, and is trying to hold on anything that can make him survive. But nothing, everything is soft, and everything is yeah. So I feel the guy is falling, and let us continue pushing harder. And when it comes to 2027, let us all register as voters and send home these old politicians who are stuck in the past.
Wow, interesting, because we also have an old Mzee. I don't know. And he's also fighting for change. So what the Gen Zs want everyone out. They just think that everyone who is old is incompetent. Do you become incompetent by age? As you give your parting shot.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? The reason why the Gen Zs are saying this is because they are disillusioned. They are unable to see where the country is going. And personally, I understand. I understand you guys. I understand what you're saying. But I want to say this. First of all, to the Gen Zs, that the nation or a country is like a chain.
Yeah.
And each unit of the chain has got its role. So let us not look at the old versus the young. We are saying at Concerned Citizens Movement, we are saying this. This country has only two tribes. The first tribe is the looters. Those who are stealing our resources and making us all poor and making us desperate.
Yes.
The second tribe is the looted. In Kiswahili ni wanaotuibia na wale tunaoibiwa. Now, the ones who are looted, we must stop the looting. At whatever age you are, we must stop that looting.
Okay.
We must bring in people who are of good character, good integrity, and good leadership.
Thank you.
And finally,
yes,
I want to talk to the members of parliament and the senators.
Yes.
You have let us down.
Yes.
The senators, starting with the members of parliament, we gave you the job of oversighting the president. You need to impeach the president. The senators, you are the ones who finish the impeachment process. The president has become the single most serious security threat to the national security threat to this nation.
Okay.
He needs to be impeached.
Wow. Interesting. Agri Diwor, thank you so much for your time, for finding time to come and converse with us, converse with Kenyans, tell them from a perspective as a Gen Z. And of course, we also have Dr. Mugashia, not his first time here. Of course, also Agri, not his first time here. Dr. Mugashia, with a vast experience, is of course a great commentator on matters, politics, issues, governance, and leadership. And of course, he was here with us today as he got to delve on the state of current affairs. And thank you so much, our viewer, for being with us every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. as we get to chew this into boluses which you can't swallow. Well, this has been me, and of course, this has been the Insight on GBS TV Africa, which happens every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. On behalf of everyone who has made this a success, we're wishing you a very good night. My name is Eugene Kwach.